So we got married in 2017, and we had planned our lives out. We had talked about it, and we're like, this is what is going to happen. Bam, bam, bam is going to happen. We're going to be so busy. Might as well just get the children out of the way. Let's do it now and just, let it come through. And then nothing happened. And then you try and nothing happened. And I remember having a conversation with Banky, and I was like, let's go do IVF. And Banky was like, calm down. It hasn't even been a year. Give it a year. So a year came when it was 11 months and a couple of days. I was like, hey, how far? So it's been a year. Let's go try IVF. And we prayed about it. We did pray. And by the grace of God, still, we did get pregnant. And we got pregnant with twins. And we saw the heartbeats. Everything was okay. And then during a routine checkup, we went back to the hospital to have a scan. And I just saw the doctor's face. You know when a doctor, I don't know how to explain it, when something is wrong, sometimes you can tell. And she was scanning, and I was like, what's wrong? She was like, oh, nothing, I'm just, And then I looked at the nurse's face, and she looked a bit funny too. And I was like, what's wrong? She was like, Adesua, I'm looking for the heartbeat. And I said, for two of them? And she said, yes. And I'm actually not going to lie, I started laughing because it didn't make any sense to me. I was just like, what do you mean you can't find the heartbeats of both? And she said, yeah. So we I went home. Banky wasn't home at the time. Mm-hmm. So I went home, and I remember being in our living room. When I was at the hospital, I actually laughed. I was like, God knows. Mm-hmm. Then when I got home, I literally collapsed on the floor and I wailed. Wailing is not the same thing as crying. Mm-hmm. Wailing is a deep groaning in your chest. It's like a knot that you can't get rid of. So we decided that over the weekend we were going to pray, because God is a God that cannot do. There's nothing he cannot do. Impossible is nothing with him. So we're going to go back on Tuesday or Monday, I forget now, for a scan, believing that God will come through.
And Monday or Tuesday rolled around, and we went back for the scan. And not only did we not see heartbeats, the embryos were shrinking. So they were decaying and they were dying. This was towards the end of the first trimester. And it was a tough time. It was a very emotional time, and she cried. And as a man, you think you are first of all, women are stronger than men. Let me just tell you that crying is not a sign of weakness. But as a man, you have been raised to be like, oh, you have to be the man, you have to be strong, you can't shed a tear. So, she's feeling a certain way, she's crying, and I'm trying to be there for her, and I'm just, holding her and saying, it's going to be okay, it's okay. But the day that we cried together was the day of the evacuation. An evacuation, for people that don't know, is when they remove the dead embryos.
In the name of Jesus. Amen. And we are praying that God will raise up the right political leadership for our country.